Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to the second IPG week about the innovation practice groups on governance, engagement, and collaboration. So just a quick reminder about the technical stuff. So please keep your microphone muted unless you're speaking. And we strongly encourage you to turn on the camera in order to see each other. In case you want to say something, please raise your hand, and also you can use the Zoom reactions and the chat in the meantime of the session. And please rename yourself and put your region or organization next to your name just to know who is each other. So considering that it's Friday afternoon in the beginning of the summer, we thought of having like a mind trip. So we will ask you to join the Miro board that will be shared in the chat. And there are two different color dots. One is for where are you for where are you now, and the other one, where would you like to go? So I will also share my screen just to see the map. We narrowed the options to Europe. So let's see. Can you see the mirror?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so far South Europe wins for the ideal place to be right now. For the ones that cannot access the mirror, you can always write on the chat, and then we can put the dots for you after, of course.
Everyone already thinking of going to the beach, I guess.
It's
It's
true.
June and we feel it.
Okay, very nice. I don't see the chat if someone types something.
No, all good.
Okay, good. Okay, many people from France, some of North Europe. Nice. Nice. So it's nice to have an option, a view of who we are now. And then while we would discuss, please state your name and your region or the organization just to have a real picture as well. So let me go back to the presentation. Can you see it? Okay, great. So after a very brief introduction on the IPGs, we will hear from the Ile-de-France region about their case study, the one that they brought here today to discuss on. So after the presentation of the region, we will have a plenary discussion with experts, but also with peers to reflect on the presentation and to address all your needs related to the session as well. So what are the IPGs? The innovation practice groups are something are more than just like discussion forums. They are action-led practice groups that they focus on regional needs, and they bring all the regional actors together in order to work in practice and not only in the theory on their challenges that they face through the climate adaptation process. So through the IPGs, we have the opportunity to share the knowledge that we have all together and to work together on ideas, plans, and to provide also concrete solutions on the challenges we face. The key objectives of the IPGs are to connect the regions with various resources that vary from academic information, policy based, and also practitioner led. So the second objective is to build on communities, on adaptation practitioners that we will work beyond these sessions. So even after the finalization of the session and the project. And also the point is to build and share knowledge and to exchange in order to exchange opportunities and have the chance to see what others face and also learn from them through their experiences, through case study sharing, and also like peer learning. So far, we are at the end of the second IPG week. And next one is going to be announced soon. So please, if you're interested to join and to present your case studies, or if you have already in mind the topics that we want to address, you're free to share it with us, and you can always join when we announce the call. We will also have the mirror board, the one that we shared before with the map. Here it's a document that you can use not only now in the session, but also to work on together. But also after that, it contains various sources of links, other interesting reports that you can find information, and also materials from the other IPG sessions. So feel free to use it also now and after in the discussion, or if you have questions, you can also put it there in the session contact, and we will address everything after in the discussion. So today's session will address key challenges on the governance, engagement, and collaboration aspects that many regions face throughout their climate adaptation process. Like very often, regions stress that there is like a fragmentation on the governance structures. So it's not very clear like who is responsible for to implement actions and lead the process. So there is sometimes like a miscommunication or difficulties to coordinate with different levels and sectors. Also, there is usually there is a lack of integration of climate adaptation aspect in policy sectors, which are really like linked to them, such as like transportation policy areas or like finance ones. A very important aspect is the accountability. So usually we can see that there are like many plans that are in place from the regions, but it's not very clear who is responsible to implement them. So also if there are like the resources, the capacities and the finance resources to do it. Many regions also face challenges related to um, like specific technical expertise on their regions. So there is not always a resilient officer or a climate adaptation officer to run the process, and they face difficulties with the capacities and the funding. One very important aspect is also the human factor related to participation and awareness. So, like public doesn't always have like a clear understanding of what is climate adaptation, and usually the stakeholder engagement processes are maybe undergrounded, or they are not so experience based but more technical based, so this leads to the lack of participation of the public. So having all these in mind, today, we bring the experience of Ile-de-France region. They were going to present us their work on the development of the Regional Climate Adaptation Observatory, which is a cross-collaboration practice and trial through the whole region and other actors. So thank you for being here. Let me introduce you our speakers. It's Francesca Barhusen. She is from Paris Region Institute, and she is actively involved in the development of the observatory, together with Marie Duzier from the Ile-de-France region, and also Daniel Richard, who is mostly focused on the climate adaptation policies and the regional climate adaptation plan. So welcome all, and the floor is yours. Let me know when you want to move the slides.
Hi, thank you. Hi everyone. So you already introduced us, so we can move on the case study presentation. So we'll do a brief presentation of the region, its key features, and the governance in place to address the adaptation challenge, and then we will present our case study. So you can move on the next slide, please. So what is Ile-de-France region? So Ile-de-France is the capital region of France, which is a very densely populated territory of over 12 million inhabitants. Beyond the capital city of Paris, the region is rich with agricultural, wooded, and natural environment that represent more than 75% of its surface. So the region regroups 8 departments, including Paris department, and over 1,200 municipalities, which are gathered in 63 what we call grouping of municipalities. So the region deals with a large scope of responsibilities. We don't need to list them all, but they are transportation, land use planning, secondary school, economic, social, and cultural development, and also the region is involved in European programs management. You can move to on the next slide, please. So the main climate change related risks that the region is facing are heat waves, floods, droughts, and a phenomenon that we call shrinkage, swelling of clay soils. That's how we translate it, which consists in the movement of clay soils associated with dry periods, which cause damage to infrastructure, especially to single-story houses. So to face these challenges, the region has engaged action by conducting a risk assessment in 2022 by adopting several strategies and an adaptation action plan. But yet the region is still facing several challenges, including on the multi-governance and the knowledge and data levels, as we are still trying to figure out how to make the regional partners work together and how to make sure that all the existing resources for adaptation reach local level and lead to real change. So, which is the subject of the observatory. Next slide, please. To meet these climate change challenges, the region has developed a community of practice through many working frameworks and habits that bring together several partners with complementary skills, such as data, land use planning, or water management, just for examples. You can move on the next slide. We don't have to list them all, but here's a representation of the main regional partners around adaptation, which includes first the region and the Institute of Paris region, which pilots several large-scale projects on adaptation, including the observatory. But there are also several operators and state operators, sorry, and organizations specialized in data and research. So now we can move on to the presentation of our case study, if that's all right with you, Francisca.
Yes, thank you very much, Marie. So I'm going to talk about a bit more about the specific project of the regional observatory. So this is something that we've been working on for quite some time now, because as you saw on the last slide that Marie presented, there are quite a lot of different actors, stakeholders, organizations that are working and already producing resources related to adaptation to climate change. And so this is sometimes a bit difficult for the local authorities to clearly understand who is working on what, how are we all working together, and yeah, basically what is the added value of all of the different resources that are being produced on this issue. And a lot of them didn't necessarily have a big visibility in the region and were very well known by all of the local stakeholders. So this was one issue that we really wanted to address. And of course also to help basically equip the local communities by having all of this information in one place, and also producing new types of resources and information that today are not easily available, and especially with a focus on access to data on climate impact and other type of data and information regarding the issue of adaptation to climate change. So yeah, these are basically the main questions that we want to answer. So what are the main risks? How will they evolve in the future? And basically help the local authorities to carry out an adaptation process, and to help them better understand who will be able to support them in this. So if you go on to the next slide. Thank you. Basically, the way it works is that the observatory is focused on two main levels of governance. So one which is more vertical, and which is addressed to the end users of the observatory, which are mainly, as we said, the local authorities, but also other types of local stakeholders that we have in the region. And so basically, we work with them in order to better understand their needs, their expectations for such a collaborative space and the platform that we are trying to develop. And so this is something that, like I've been said, we've been already working on since about 1.5 years. That we've already had quite a lot of ways to try to get them involved in the setting up of this observatory by surveys, by organizing focus groups as well. So really trying to put their needs into the center of what we're trying to develop. And as we're going along, as you will see, we're right now trying to set up a platform, an online platform, where different information will be centralized, and also create new types of data that will be available across this platform. And so to also better design all of these tools in regard to the needs of the local authorities. We will also get them involved as beta testers in the design phase of the observatory. So this is the vertical part, and then on a more horizontal level, we're basically working with all of the stakeholders that were visible on the slide that Marie presented in a technical committee. So basically be able to brainstorm and review progress all together on as the platform develops, to make sure that everybody is on board, and yeah, that this is really representative of all the different stakeholders that are working in the region. And at the same time, there are a lot of organizations that could potentially be associated to the issues related to adaptation, and it's very difficult to organize all of these very different stakeholders and organizations. So basically, we will have this one technical committee, but then we will have different thematic working groups, which will be limited in time, but which will also help us to involve additional experts, which will be on more specific topics, like basically on health, or on data, or things like forest and agriculture, where this will also help us to kind of have a larger governance, while still keeping this smaller technical committee, in order to be a bit more reactive and flexible in the way we work. So on the next slide, just to finish, we wanted to show you, basically what we're working on, the online platform that we would like to launch very soon, and which basically is really organized. We try to organize it in a way that is according to the main steps that we have identified in the territories and local authorities adaptation journey. So basically, what resources do you need in the beginning, just to understand, what is climate change, what is adaptation, what are the impacts that are on the territory, what are the tools that you need to formalize, start working on a strategy in your territory, what are the different forms of data and resources that you can mobilize, basically to draw a baseline, to observe the impacts and the risk, and have access to local data. And then finally, a part more about like the solutions and how to take action. So this is basically really the logic that we're trying to come across, to bring across with this platform. And what is really important for us and quite unique is that really we have one platform that will give access to resources coming from lots of different organizations. So it's not just one organization who's producing this, but really all of the stakeholders that are involved. And so this is something that, of course, will also continue to evolve over time. So yeah, this is basically what very quickly what we wanted to share with you about our observatory. So if you have any questions, then of course we can go into more detail about certain aspects if you would like to.
And thanks a lot. I think I can take the floor at this stage. And thanks, Angeliki, for the introduction. And thanks also to the Ile-de-France region for the presentation. I don't know if anyone has specific questions for the speakers regarding their case study, if you found it interesting, if you have any information that is missing that they could complement on. Not so far, I see.
There's one comment into the chat now.
One comment on the chat. I don't know, Lucas, if you want to speak out loud.
I can try.
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Okay, well, thanks. My question is about how resource intensive such work is, setting up and especially maintaining the observatory. Since you talk about 1,200 municipalities, you can justify such resources, and I wonder how justifiable could that be in smaller contexts. So maybe you have some insights on that?
Yes, maybe I can start answering, Marie, if it's okay for you. Yes, definitely, it needs a lot of work, especially during this first phase of setting it up. So just to give you an idea, just in my organization, so the basically the regional agency for urban planning, in the way that we are assisting the regional council. We already have about 5 people working on this project, not full time, but yeah, basically 5 people who are giving time to this project, and then one person who is really working full time only on this. So this is in my organization, and then at the regional council there is also Marie, who's basically also working full time on this, as well as other people on the side of the regional council that are also dedicating time. So yeah, definitely, and this is only in these 2 organizations. And at the same time, we also try to get all of the other stakeholders involved, and kind of hope that they will also dedicate, even though they will be less in charge, so they will dedicate a bit less time. But yeah, definitely for us, it's a question, especially right now. We are having the financial support of the Pathways to Resistance to be able to have 2 people who are working full time only on this. But there's also the whole question of how we will be able to maintain in the future. But just to say that yes, this is something that we're doing in our region, very big region. Of course, we're quite aware of that, but we can see also in France that there are other initiatives in regions which have a bit smaller population, but which are also trying to basically, yeah, trying to work on ways to organize governance around adaptation and to make resources available for local authorities.
Can I make a little follow-up?
Please go ahead.
So I was wondering, upon setting it up and presenting it to key decision makers, how have you communicated this fact that it will be resource intensive, and how much maintenance that requires, and how were these ideas received by the decision makers in terms of committing the resources that you would need, and has it changed over time? So are you still receiving enough support to continue the work that you're doing?
Maybe I'll let Marie and Danielle, if you want to say something about this, because you're more directly in contact.
Yeah, sure. I can take it from here. I'm
Right.
Daniel Richard, climate officer for Île-de-France region. I would say like the PTRO program definitely helps in the setting of the observatory, since as Francisca mentioned, there's one full-time person recruited in, plus the people already working on it. Now the question of how do you maintain this, and like how many people do you need to keep it going, and which resources can we mobilize for it is still up to question. Maybe like Pietro would also help us to look whether there would be European funds, for example, to mobilize on this project. But yeah.
Maybe also one element that I thought was interesting in Luca's question is about how to make also decision makers aware of the issue and the importance of dedicating some resources on this. I don't know if you had also to pitch this kind of idea to your decision makers, or how did it came up? Like, was it like a bottom up or more like from the political side?
It was definitely an idea from the political side. We were like pretty much like we're pretty engaged on implementing solution and developing solution and financing local solutions, for example, like green infrastructure and everything. But the pretty much early on, the idea was to help, like to respond to the challenge that smaller communities and smaller municipalities don't have access to all the data, all the knowledge on adaptation to climate change. So that was definitely a top-down approach. Like it was the decisions makers demand to have the observatory. So part of the challenge was to match the original idea and what is already existing, what can be done with which resources, and so and so.
Great. Thanks a lot. I see also in the chat there are a lot of questions, and maybe going to the national context in France. But this is actually replicable in many other contexts, as national platforms are being also established on adaptation. There is a question about how basically this is gonna be in line with the observatory, with the adaptation mission launched in France by ADEME and CEREMA. I don't know if you have already some thoughts about that, if this is actually thought in coordination, or
maybe well, to the broader context, to non-French people, is so there are like parallel initiatives where an adaptation to climate change. So Mission Adaptation Mission is an initiative by the French state that aims to bring together all the state operators on adaptation to climate change, of which ADEME and CEREMA are like general general aspect, but there are also like structures working on water management, forest issue, and so the idea is to have like a common front desk for all municipalities to be given advice on adaptation to climate change. So, and this initiatives was announced mid 2024. Whereas like the regional observatory was already, like the idea was already in place, and the work has been already ongoing. So of course it's a big challenge for us, because the Observatory of Climate Change has the objective to become also this well, portal or front desk for municipalities. So we have to kind of match the two ideas. Luckily, we do have good contact with all the structures that are part of the adaptation mission. And so the idea still in discussion would be that the two of them like self-nourish, so that the like whenever municipalities has a question and would go to like the Mission Adaptation Mission, the idea would be to make the link with the observatory and so on. So yeah, like part of the issue we do have at the moment is that there are like too many people trying to work on adaptation and launching a lot of different initiatives, and that's also part of the governance challenge we're facing at the moment.
Yeah, maybe good to mention at this point also for everyone to be aware that at the same time at the European level there is an ongoing initiative for, and there is a project specifically on this that will start in October this year, that is aiming to coordinate basically at European level all these kind of initiatives at national level, so that basically these are established, and the French model that it's actually also present in Sweden, for example, and Spain, can be replicated in all 27 states. So this is also upcoming. And so, for example, by looking at these interlinkages between your observatory and the national platform, we can also see how to replicate it in other contexts. So definitely something worth exploring. I see many questions in the chat about the participation of citizens. Maybe you want to spend some words on that.
Can I? Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. So the thing is, it's basically a step-by-step process. So the problem is, of course, ideally we would love to do lots of different things, but we cannot do everything at once because, like we said, it's already very resource intensive. Basically, yeah, for the moment, it's not necessarily a tool which is directly directed to citizens, even though, of course, some of the information that we will make available can also be interesting to everybody. And the idea is that to make it as accessible as possible, so always to have a kind of narrative to accompany the data, for example, because this is also something that we see that is often that in adaptation you have very complex notions, very complex concepts, and so even for local policymakers, it's not necessarily always easy to understand them, to interpret the data in the right way. So this is definitely definitely something that we will be working on very strongly, how to accompany all of the data and information that we will make available by narratives, by methodological elements that will help any person to understand them. So I guess in this sense, it could be interesting for a wider field of actors. But for us, at the moment, the main target are really the local authorities. So this is the main target, yeah, that we're trying to reach and to make them integrate and use the different resources in their local strategies and action plans. So for the moment, the direct involvement of citizens isn't necessarily the main priority. And maybe just I saw that there was also a question about the topics that we will be focusing on. So again, it's really a step-by-step process. So for the moment, the main priority again is already to have the data about climate impacts, both what we have observed in the past and what we will be seeing in the future. In France, at the national level, there's also a kind of methodology or kind of how to say, like a framework which has been given at a national level about basically what we project for France for the future in terms of warming. So this is again something where we have to use the national framework to then produce local data which is compatible with this national framework. So this is already the first challenge. So this is something that we are currently working on. So already give access to the climate data, give access on data on the main risks. So Marie has been talking about them. So heat, flooding, and shrinking and swelling of clays. So these are the main issues we will want to tackle. And then as we go forward, we'll try to one after the other treat the different subject that will come on. So health is a big priority for us. And then we will see what the next priorities will be. Urban planning is also a big issue for us. So, yeah, agriculture. So it's really, we're going to take it step by step.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Francesca and Daniel, Marie. I think more questions also will pop up, but in preparation to this meeting, also we asked the Ile-de-France region to tell us which were the open questions that they also had. Because we also wanted to invite some experts on these topics to support also this discussion. And one of the points that you raised is particularly on insurance. So how to mobilize basically also insurance stakeholders and make sure that we are connecting the dots now between our work in climate change adaptation and the insurance sector. So we have actually invited Kathy, that I see here, who is very much involved in the PISA project, which is a project funded under the Mission on Adaptation, specifically working on insurance. And I will give you the floor, Kathy, to bring some connections and reflections from your side.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, well, it's a bit hard to connect the insurance with the observatory directly, but well, if we think about the interest in what could be their interest in trying to in participating in here would be at first to raise awareness about the existing insurance products, because in PISA project we conducted a survey and we had like over 900 answers from 7 different European countries. And we found out that over 50% of the people have not they are not covered by insurance for any climate-related risk. So I think that would be something that that would be really interesting for the insurance companies, just like awareness raising about the existing insurance. It is also possible that people don't know. And then another point would be like working together towards resilience, because that would be their interest for long term, because if we have higher risks, then the insurability of these risks is lower. So they would in a long term benefit economically from like investing now in adaptation measures. And well, these were the most important points that came into my mind as motivation factors. So, but I think it would be really interesting to have collaboration like public-private type collaboration, and then set the common targets and find out. I think you would need to find out which measures would be such that the insurance companies would be interested in. I hope that helps. But if you have any more specific questions, please, I'm trying to respond.
Yeah, thanks, Katya. And also, I saw very interesting the link you put on the chat. I suggest also everyone to click on it. It's looking at the risks related to a ground movement for housing, as I understand. Maybe you want to spend just 2 words on explaining more on that.
Yeah, it's actually something under development. It has real data from one region, but it's going to be extended to the whole of France. So it's kind of something. It's meant to be also awareness raising, and it's meant to be a tool for house owners if they want to know what their future risk is, and also if they are going to sell their property. So that's also important to know if it's going to affect that process. So I think it's so you can feed there your address if you are in the region, and see concretely about your place. So it has local data on the soil and climate.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Kathy. And also just a reminder for everyone to subscribe to the newsletter from Visa and follow
Yes.
your social media, because you're doing great work also, and not only in France, but for all different regions. So it's good that you have a look at it.
Yeah, I'll also share a link to one of our blog posts that explains a little very clearly why insurance industry is important in adaptation work, and about some of the policy issues that related to that, because I think that helps people who are not involved in work with insurance industry to understand what the questions are.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
will look forward to your link. And then in any case, also for everyone to know, we are including these links also on the Miro board, and in any case on the report on this session. So you will receive it and you will have it handy. In the meantime, we have other questions actually also for Ile-de-France. If you are actually monitoring the impact of the observatory in increasing the overall resilience of your region. and how do you communicate this basically to decision makers and funders? Or maybe you're not going to that direction at the moment.
I see if any of my colleagues are jumping in. If not, I will answer.
Please go ahead.
You can go ahead. I will.
You can answer
Okay.
better.
Yeah, so basically, right now we're in the stage of setting up the observatory. So basically, this is yeah, we're not necessarily already trying to actually really get it working, set up the first data sets and all of this. So yeah, basically, for the moment, this is not necessarily something that we have been looking at too much. However, inside the observatory, this is a big question that we would like to address. Basically, what are the kind of indicators that you can produce to kind of measure this a resilience of a territory? What is the kind of data that you could mobilize for this? So this was basically one of the main questions that we've also been asking us since the beginning. But yeah, this is really a work in process, so we don't necessarily have all the answers now. But for us in general, the way that we look at adaptation is really at the territorial level. Is basically what are the impacts, what is the vulnerability, the exposition of the territory, and what is its capacity to respond to this impact. So this third level is basically where we try to measure kind of the resilience and the capacity of a territory to absorb the shocks that it will be facing.
Not sure if Maria or Daniel want to add something.
I think Francisca said it all.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks a lot. Also, very interesting point maybe to explore further, and then while you implement the observatory, also you will be able to tell us more of how it goes, and please keep it in mind also for the other regions to share your questions also with colleagues from Ile-de-France in the future. But yeah, I wanted to also ask the other regions actually how you are finding this experience, if you are doing something similar in your own context. If you couldn't do something similar because of a big challenge, please also share your experience. We are also here to hear about what is going wrong, of course, and how we could overcome any barriers that are there. And maybe while the other regions are thinking about it, I will put on the spot my colleague Nina, who is here. She's not from my team on resilience and climate adaptation, but she's actually working on the team on governance. And Nina, I wanted your reactions basically on what you heard about the observatory, how this is connecting to other initiatives in other cities or regions, or also what do you think are the highlights of this experience for cities?
Thank you, Luca, and thank you everyone for the presentation. I must say that I was like quite in the position of the listener to try to actually understand what is going on in your region. This is quite interesting approach, I must say. I was also before working for the city of Zagreb for the municipality, so I'm also trying to understand from this position how it could be applicable in other regions and in other cities. For me, it's quite interesting also the way how you're approaching it through these three, let's say, pillars of health and agriculture and forest. I must say that I think it's a little bit more complex. So I'm looking forward to see in the end how it will be developed. Yeah, on the other hand, I'm also need to know a little bit more about the context of the region. I must say that only thing that I already know about is more with Grenoble area. But Also, I would like to mention these local green deals, which we are also implementing through our different projects. That could be also very great accelerators towards the implementation of some ideas and the goals that you will put in your observatory. Maybe I can tell you more about it some other time, or maybe we can talk about it now.
If you want to explain just in a few sentences, like also what green deals are.
Okay.
Green deals, yeah.
So basically, local green deals, to be very simplified, it's a handshake in between cities and businesses. It's a deal which is not like a climate city contracts, like the big, let's say, strategies. It's more like ad hoc, let's say, push in between cities and municipalities and the businesses, how to accelerate or not accelerate the sustainability, or just a little bit push back the climate changes. We were developing these local green deals through the Intelligent City Challenge project, and we were working with more than 67 cities through the past 2 years, and local green deals were developing in 5 different sectors, mostly in energy sectors, which is a little bit convenient. And but a lot of these were developed during the building and construction. Let's say these low-hanging fruits were more connected with culture and tourism, and also, of course, mobility was one of the biggest sector with implementing. And we were working with cities and with different businesses and different NGOs towards the implementing these deals. In the end, we got more than 200 signed local green deals in last year and a half. And of course, this is very good opportunity to present the local green deal blueprint volume 2, which is published, I think, today. So you can, if you're more interested in like how these deals are how these deals were developing and what is the final outcome, you can read it there. But it's a basically process which is connected with also the resilience wheel. Everything is quite connected and very well merged, and it's very good to even work more towards connecting these all of these initiatives. So yeah, I see local green deals like a great opportunity to implement in these observatories after they are a little bit more developed. Maybe if you after the participation process and after all of these implementing processes, maybe this will be a very good step to move forward, to fast forward some decisions.
Thanks, Nina. So basically, if I understand correctly, is a way also to make a contract between public sector and private sector to
Exactly.
accelerate implementation and an agreement on a specific aspect. And in the case could be also resilience to climate change, for example.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
if you have the link to this publication, it would be great to have it also in the chat. And I really recommend everyone to have a look.
I'm on it.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Nina, and thanks for being with us. Maybe from the other regions, any other thoughts, something really you want to highlight from your own experience? So not only the questions to Ile-de-France, but also how are this kind of multi-level or cross-sectoral collaboration going in your region? What success are you achieving, or what are you struggling with? No pressure. Maybe also in the meantime, I don't know, Mariana, any reflections from your side? I don't know, this probably also made you think about your regions in your network, and yeah, or do you have questions also for the broader
Yeah,
audience?
I thank you, Luca. I find super interesting how in Ile-de-France you are going and moving forward with this multi-governance approach. I think that's one of the keys, and in a way, I'm thinking how we can bring this knowledge to our regions, because in a way, we need to aim to align the EU adaptation mission with what's going on at the national level and at the regional level, and again, at the super local level with municipalities. So I think it's a very good example of the observatory and how we can bring this knowledge also to our regions of networks. And also, I was wondering, I understand it's definitely be super resource demanding, and I was wondering how you ask for all this information to all the organizations you are working with, like how you organize the collection of all that organization, because it's super detailed and super hard work to do. And I understand you may involve a lot of people. So I was wondering how you collect all the information and also inform the upper levels on all this on a daily basis or periodically, so we can also learn from that process and reflect it maybe in other regions, or at least share the best practice you are moving forward with.
Maybe I let my colleague answer a part of this, some parts of your questions. But just to answer what you said about collecting the resources, there was a first work that was done about going on the other stakeholders' platforms to collect the different resources that they have. Now the work that is conducted by the Institute of Paris Region is having small gatherings with each partner to just to make sure that every relevant resources were collected. And just to bond with the question with the intervention of Nina, I think that was her name, about the collaboration with between public and private sector. Just wanted to highlight the fact that this is a very big issue, a big lack of the multi-governance adaptation in Ile-de-France, because I don't know if you saw it, but on the stakeholder community map, there is no representative structure of the public sector. It's all the public sector that is representative, and the only large scale project that the Ile-de-France region is working on is conducting a risk assessment of the private field, of the economic field, like to see what their vulnerability is.
Okay, thank you, Marie. That's super interesting. Maybe I will reach out to you because for us it's super interesting to learn more from this initiative, and I think that's for everybody, right? Because here is like a best practice of how to collect information, assess it, understand then how to measure it to improve it. Maybe that would be the next step. And I really appreciate all the inputs and the presentation. So maybe Luca, back to you, and thank you
Thanks,
all of you
Mariana.
for the presentation. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yes, maybe I don't know if anyone else wanted to share something specific. Otherwise, I would say also we can go ahead with some final conclusion, just to also of the discussion. Just to say, I think some important points came out. First of all, this element of the observatory as a way to foster both vertical and horizontal collaboration. This is something that we will sum up, and we'll also share information offline with you, and we really suggest that you continue looking into options of how this could be replicated. If you're interested in your region, reach out to the Ile-de-France region or also to the Pathways to Resilience Consortium to see how we can support you in this process. And in any case, also a big applause to the Ile-de-France region for the great work they are doing, and also to say that we really look forward to hear what will come out next. So definitely we will be happy to involve you in future discussions also when the observatory will be fully implemented. And yes, just a reminder that we have our Miro board that is open and to all of your comments, but also where all the summary of what we heard today will be put. You are free to put questions, even if they are coming up in your mind in the next few days. And particularly, we will collect there all the links that you have seen in the chat, just because they could go lost at some point. So we will make sure that these are centralized in some way. The other point that I wanted to highlight is the point on insurance. Please remember the PISA project as one of the key projects that is looking into insurability related to climate change adaptation. So yeah, maybe what we wanted to now go to is basically a feedback survey for you. So this should pop up in your screen now. So we would really appreciate it if you could complete it, just being very open about how you found this session. You can be mean if this is real. No, just joking, but please give us your feedback, because this is very important for us to improve in the next sessions. Good. Maybe a few minutes here. Paloma, did I forget anything?
I'm muted. I don't think so. I mean, we're just gonna give you a few minutes to fill it in. And I guess I just wanted to say thank you for joining us for the whole week of IPG sessions. We know that it's been intense. We hope that this new format with shorter sessions has made it a bit easier. And because we know that one of the feedback from the previous week was that you wanted to join many sessions, but maybe it was longer. So hopefully this was easier for everyone to join more than one discussion. And also this new format of putting more the focus on the regions, sharing the stories that we have already within the P2R cohort 1. I think it was a really interesting week. We've heard from many different regions, so very diverse experiences. Some are challenges, some are success stories or projects that have been already implemented, and hopefully you got some good learnings from it. And we'll be following up on you via email after the sessions, sharing the materials as Luca was mentioning. The Miro board is going to be open. We'll also, again, invite you to present at any future IPG session if you want. And we hope to see you in the next sessions, of course. So we'll wrap up the session, but stay here for you to finalize the feedback survey. But we'll close the session now, just saying everyone should have a great weekend. And we just thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks a lot, Paloma, for congratulations for the full week. And thanks, Angeliki, for setting everything up.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.